What if earning just a few $100s more could quietly erase the very benefits you fought for? It sounds impossible, but for thousands of veterans, it's already happened. The truth is, there's a hidden income line baked into the VA system, and once you cross it, some of the most life-changing benefits can vanish, almost instantly. We're not just talking about small perks. We're talking about free health care, monthly pension payments, housing assistance, even vital support for your spouse or kids, all at risk from a single bump in income that no one warned you about. And here's the part that catches most veterans off guard. These thresholds aren't always obvious. In fact, many are buried in fine print, hidden behind complicated forms, or triggered retroactively, meaning you could already be over the limit without realizing it. In this video, we're going to walk through 8 VA benefits you could lose the moment your income crosses that invisible line. Some of them are ones you rely on now. Others might be ones you plan to use down the road. But either way, knowing what's at stake and how to protect yourself can make the difference between staying covered or waking up to a letter that says it's all gone. Stick with me through this one, because the first few benefits are just the start. The last two, most veterans never even see them coming. Let's start with one of the most commonly misunderstood benefits: VA pension, specifically the non-service-connected pension. This program is a financial lifeline for low-income wartime veterans who are permanently and totally disabled or over the age of 65. But here's the catch most people don't realize. The moment your income creeps above a certain level, even by a small amount, you no longer qualify. The income threshold changes every year and is based on the maximum annual pension rate, or MAPR. For a single veteran with no dependents in 2025, it's just under $17,000. That's it. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Many veterans assume that their gross income is the only thing that matters. But the VA calculates income after deducting unreimbursed medical expenses. So, if your out-of-pocket healthcare costs are low, your countable income might be higher than you think. Now imagine this. You pick up a part-time job to make ends meet, maybe just 10 to 15 hours a week. That extra income, even if it seems harmless, could push you over the line. And unlike other benefit programs, there's not always a warning. You could get approved, start receiving payments. Then a year later, the VA reviews your file and sends a notice. You owe thousands in overpayments. And yes, they'll collect. So before you earn another dollar or decline medical deductions on your taxes, ask yourself, have I calculated my countable income the way the VA does? Because with VA pensions, a single misstep can erase your benefits faster than you think. But that's just the beginning. Because while pensions are means-tested, the next benefit on the list catches even financially stable veterans off guard. Now, let's talk about something most veterans never expect to lose: VA healthcare enrollment. It's easy to assume that once you're enrolled, you're in for life, but that's not always the case. The VA uses a priority group system to manage eligibility, and income plays a big role in determining where you fall and whether you stay covered. If you're not service-connected or rated at a high enough disability percentage, your access to VA healthcare hinges almost entirely on your financial situation. Veterans in priority groups 7 or 8, those with no service-connected disabilities or with lower disability ratings, are subject to income limits every year. Go just a few $100s over the VA's geographically adjusted threshold, and you may be denied future enrollment or even disenrolled during the next review cycle. What's worse, many veterans don't realize they've crossed that line until they show up for a medical appointment and get told they're no longer eligible. It's not just the copays that change. Your entire access to care could be revoked. That includes prescriptions, specialist visits, mental health support, and routine screenings. Let's say you take on a temporary contract job or receive a modest pension from a previous employer. You assume it's a short-term bump, nothing significant. But to the VA, it might place you above the threshold for your area. And once that happens, you're on the hook for private insurance, Medicare, or paying out of pocket. Some veterans have reported losing coverage for critical medications after being booted from the system, all because of one unexpected income spike. So if you're relying on VA healthcare but aren't service-connected, don't assume your access is guaranteed. Monitor your income closely and be aware of your priority group. because your health coverage could vanish faster than you realize, and once it's gone, getting back it isn't always easy. But that's nothing compared to the benefits quietly slipping away when it comes to your spouse and dependents. Now here's where things start to hit home for families. Losing access to CHAMPA. For veterans who aren't 100% service-connected, CHAMPA is often the only affordable healthcare option for spouses and dependents. It's a lifeline that covers hospital visits, prescriptions, mental health treatment, and more. But what many don't realize is that this benefit is incredibly sensitive to income thresholds and disability ratings, and it can disappear without much warning. CHAMPA eligibility is tied to your status as a permanently and totally disabled veteran. If your VA rating isn't locked in at 100% PNT, you're walking a razor's edge. Now imagine this. You get a new side job, earn a little too much, and the VA reevaluates your eligibility. If they determine that your circumstances have changed, whether due to income, work activity, or anything that suggests your disability is no longer total and permanent, your spouse and kids could lose CHAMPA immediately. Even worse, once they're kicked off, getting back on isn't simple. Many families are forced to navigate the private insurance market, where costs can skyrocket. Some dependents who relied on CHAMPA for years suddenly find themselves without coverage at all, especially if they fall between cracks. Too young for Medicare, too old for dependent status, and not employed full-time. This isn't just about paperwork. It's about access to cancer treatment, mental health support, routine checkups, and emergency care. One veteran spouse was undergoing chemotherapy when her CHAMPA benefits were cut off due to an income reassessment. She went from paying next to nothing to facing thousands of dollars in medical bills in a matter of weeks. So if you're a veteran with a family, you need to ask yourself, are you doing anything that could trigger a review of your PNT status or bump your income just enough to raise red flags? Because even if your VA benefits remain untouched, your loved ones might not be so lucky. And the next benefit that gets ripped away could affect your ability to even live where you want. Now let's talk about something most veterans never see coming: the sudden loss of VA pension benefits. This one hits especially hard because it's often relied on by low-income wartime veterans or their survivors as a core source of income. But here's the shocking part. All it takes is one financial shift, even something as minor as an inheritance, a property sale, or a side gig, and that entire benefit can vanish overnight. The VA pension is means-tested. That means your household income and net worth are under a microscope, and the moment your total assets exceed the VA's financial limits, currently $155,356 as of 2024, you could be disqualified. It doesn't matter if you're a widow barely scraping by or a vet with rising medical costs. The system doesn't care how temporary the financial boost is. If you cross the threshold, the benefit stops. What makes this especially dangerous is how easily people stumble into it. A well-meaning child sets up a joint bank account just to help, or a veteran sells land they've held on to for decades, and suddenly the VA sees them as too wealthy. In some cases, the benefit is revoked retroactively, meaning you might be forced to repay months of pension payments you already spent on rent or medications. It's not just income from work that counts. The VA includes all kinds of assets in the net worth calculation: bank accounts, stocks, IRAs, even the cash value of some life insurance policies. And if you think you can spend down those assets to qualify again, think again. The VA enforces a strict 36-month look-back period. That means if you gave away or transferred assets to qualify for pension benefits, they can disqualify you for up to 3 years. One widow of a Vietnam vet learned this the hard way. After receiving a small insurance payout when her sister passed, her VA pension was terminated, even though her health expenses had doubled. She didn't know the money would count against her until the checks stopped arriving. If you're receiving VA pension, you have to think several steps ahead. Even small financial moves can trigger devastating consequences. The scariest part? Once the benefit is gone, getting it reinstated can take months or longer, and in the meantime, you're left scrambling to cover the basics. So before you accept that inheritance, cash in a policy, or sell property, you need to ask, will this push me over the line? Because one financial decision could quietly end the very safety net you worked so hard to earn. And once it's gone, it might take more than just paperwork to get it back. Now, Let's move into something most veterans never realize until it's too late. The automatic loss of free VA healthcare and prescriptions once your income climbs too high. This isn't a rumor or some edge case scenario. It's a real, written rule in the VA system that quietly penalizes success, even when that success is modest. The VA uses a system of priority groups to determine who gets what level of care and whether you have to pay. Veterans with low income, no private insurance, or significant service-connected disabilities often fall into higher priority groups, where care is largely free. But once your income crosses a certain threshold, you're downgraded. And that shift comes with a price tag. You start getting hit with copays. Your prescriptions, once free, now carry monthly fees. And depending on your location, the services you use, the out-of-pocket costs can skyrocket, especially for things like mental health care, specialist visits, or long-term medications. Suddenly, that VA coverage you depended on for years starts to feel like any other health system, one where money decides how much help you get. Let's say you pick up a part-time job after retirement. You enjoy it, the pay is decent, and for the first time in a while, your savings account looks healthy. Then one day, a letter shows up saying you've been reassigned to a lower priority group. It means you'll have to pay for every visit going forward, and your prescription costs just tripled. No warning, no conversation, just a notice and a bill. Even worse, many veterans don't realize this is tied not just to income, but to household income. That means your spouse's earnings, Social Security payments, pensions, everything counts. So if your partner takes on a little freelance work or you sell a property together, your joint income might quietly push you out of free care. This creates a dilemma. Do you turn down income opportunities just to stay under the limit? Do you risk losing the care you've depended on for years? Most vets never ask these questions until they're paying hundreds each month just to stay healthy. The real danger is that this income cutoff doesn't just impact care today. Once you're bumped down a priority group, it can be harder to climb back up, even if your income drops again. The VA reassesses once a year, not once a month. So if you go over the limit in April and your income drops in May, you're still stuck with those costs for the rest of the year. If you rely on VA healthcare, you have to think carefully about any move that raises your income, even if it's temporary. Because what seems like a small financial win could come with a hidden cost. Losing access to the very healthcare system you thought would always be there for you. Let's talk about a benefit most veterans don't even know they're losing. Priority access to VA programs and services. This isn't just about appointments or paperwork. It's about how quickly you get help when it matters most. The VA doesn't operate on a flat playing field. It uses a system that prioritizes veterans based on disability ratings, service connection, and yes, income. If your income stays under the threshold, you're often placed in a higher priority group, which means faster service, fewer wait times, and more direct access to specialized programs. But once you cross that income line, you get moved down and the difference is immediate. Suddenly, getting a specialist appointment can take weeks or even months. Programs like travel reimbursements, home care services, and mental health support that were once easy to access now come with added delays, paperwork, and even denials. You go from being seen as a high-priority veteran to being just another number in the backlog. Take this real example. A Vietnam-era vet with a modest disability rating picks up a consulting gig that pays well for a few months. His income crosses the threshold by a few $1,000s. He doesn't think much of it until he tries to schedule his annual cardiology visit and is told the next available appointment is 6 months out. Why? Because his new income classification pushed him out of that higher priority status. The VA system is designed to stretch limited resources, and that means someone has to wait. If your income is higher, even just slightly, you might become that someone. And when it comes to things like cancer screenings, PTSD treatment, or managing chronic illness, delayed care can lead to very real consequences. And here's the kicker. This change in priority isn't always communicated clearly. Many veterans don't realize what's happening until the benefits they relied on start quietly slipping away. It's not a letter with bold red warnings. It's a longer wait here, a denied request there, and a growing sense that the system isn't working the way it used to. This kind of hidden downgrade can feel like a betrayal. After years of service and a promise that the VA would be there for you, it starts to feel conditional, like your access to support is only good if you stay poor enough to qualify. The truth is, most veterans aren't asking for special treatment. They're just asking for consistency. But with this system, a temporary boost in income, even one that helps your family, can quietly push you into a category where you have to fight harder for the care you once received without question. So before you accept that new job offer, cash out that retirement fund, or even take on a side hustle, take a moment to ask, what might this cost me in VA priority access? Because once you drop down the list, climbing back up isn't easy, and the system won't wait for you to catch up. Now here's a benefit that feels almost invisible: VA prescription coverage. Most veterans know they can get their medications through the VA at a steep discount, sometimes even for free. But what they don't realize is how quickly that changes once they earn too much. At first, nothing seems different. You go to the same VA clinic, see the same doctor, and pick up your prescriptions like always. But then out of nowhere, the copay starts showing up. That blood pressure medication that used to cost you nothing now is a charge. Then it's your cholesterol meds, your inhaler, and suddenly, what used to be a $0 visit is adding up to hundreds of dollars each month. Why? Because once your income crosses a certain threshold, you're no longer considered eligible for cost-free medications unless your prescriptions are directly tied to a service-connected disability. Everything else? You're paying full VA copay prices, and depending on the number of medications you take, that adds up fast. And this doesn't just affect your wallet, it affects your decisions. Some veterans start skipping refills. They stretch out pills longer than prescribed. They avoid going to the doctor altogether because they know another script means another bill. This isn't just risky, it's dangerous. Delaying or skipping medications, especially for chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or COPD, can lead to ER visits, hospitalizations, or worse. What makes this sting even more is that many veterans don't see it coming. There's no warning that says, hey, you just earned too much. Your meds will now cost you. It just happens quietly. And for those living on fixed incomes or balancing part-time work with medical needs, that sudden cost can become a burden almost overnight. It's especially cruel because many of these veterans didn't get rich. They just try to live a little better. A few extra dollars from a pension adjustment, a part-time job, or help with a family business can push them past the threshold. And the penalty? Full copay pricing that wasn't there before. So if you depend on the VA for your prescriptions and your income is close to the cutoff, pay close attention. A modest increase in earnings might seem harmless, but when your next round of meds comes with a bill instead of receipt marked no charge, you'll feel the difference and fast. Because once you cross that line, the VA doesn't give you a grace period or a heads up. Your status changes, your copays hit, and your health could suffer in the process. And what makes it even harder? There's no easy way to undo it once the income clock resets. This last one might be the most frustrating of all, the sudden disqualification from VA travel reimbursement. It's not a flashy benefit. Most veterans don't even think about it until they need it. But when you're driving long distances for care, especially specialty appointments that aren't offered at your local clinic, every mile matters. VA travel pay is designed to help cover those costs, mileage, parking, tolls, when you have to leave town for treatment. For some, it's just a small convenience. For others, it's the only way they can afford to make those appointments happen. But here's what most don't realize. The moment your income rises above a certain threshold, even slightly, you could be cut off from this reimbursement entirely. Imagine this. You've been relying on travel pay to make it to your monthly checkups 2 hours away. It's helped you stretch your gas budget and stay on top of your health. Then, one year, your income bumps up, maybe from Social Security adjustments, a part-time job, or even a spouse picking up extra hours. Suddenly, that travel reimbursement disappears. And the VA won't tell you in advance. They'll simply deny the next claim. That's when the real cost hits. You start debating whether it's worth the drive. You cancel follow-ups. You delay procedures. Not because you want to, but because you're forced to. For rural veterans especially, this isn't just inconvenient. It's life-altering. No travel pay means no access. And here's the part that stings. The cutoff is brutally low. You don't have to be wealthy. You don't even have to be particularly comfortable. Just slightly overqualified. And you're suddenly footing the full bill for every trip, every appointment, every follow-up. Some veterans even get penalized retroactively. They apply for travel reimbursement like they always have, only to be told weeks later that their income now makes them ineligible and the check never comes. No notice, no warning, just a quiet cutoff that leaves them scrambling to make ends meet. So if you depend on travel assistance to make your healthcare manageable, don't assume it's permanent. Monitor your income closely, because one unexpected financial uptick, no matter how small, could silently strip away this crucial support. And once it's gone, the pressure builds fast, especially for older vets, disabled vets, or anyone already dealing with high medical costs. Because when showing up for care starts costing more than skipping it, too many choose the latter. And that's exactly how good intentions turn into bad outcomes. It's strange how something as simple as earning a few extra dollars can quietly take away benefits you relied on for years. Most veterans never expect that by improving their financial situation just a little, they might be punished for it. But that's exactly what happens. These programs weren't designed to keep up with the cost of living or today's economy. They were built on outdated thresholds that haven't changed with the times. And the ones who suffer most? It's not the wealthy. It's everyday veterans, the ones who are just trying to live a little better, support their families, or cover rising expenses. The truth is, no one warns you about these invisible cliffs. There's no alert when you're getting close, no letter in the mail telling you you're about to lose support. One day the benefit is there. The next, it's gone. And by the time you realize what happened, the damage has already been done. Miscare, unexpected bills, or lost opportunities you can't get back. But knowledge is power. And now that you know these 8 benefits can vanish the moment your income crosses that line, you can start planning ahead. Don't let yourself be blindsided. Recheck your eligibility each year. Talk to a VSO before you file anything that might change your income. And most importantly, advocate for yourself. Because if you don't fight to protect your benefits, no one else will. If today's video opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered, leave a comment below and tell us which section hit you the hardest. Your voice might be the one that helps another veteran avoid a painful mistake. And if you found this information valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Your support keeps this content going and helps more veterans take back control of their future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.